The octagon lights dimmed. 60,000 people in the arena fell silent. It was UFC 3, November 1994, and something impossible was about to happen. A figure walked through the tunnel. Small frame, calm eyes, moving like water flows around stones. The crowd whispered his name. Bruce Lee. But wait, Bruce Lee had been gone for over 20 years. How could this be? Standing across the cage was Nguyen, 6 feet 2 inches, 230 pounds of pure muscle, a kickboxing champion with 47 wins and only 2 losses. He had destroyed every opponent in under 3 minutes. The betting odds? 50-1 against the smaller fighter. The referee stepped between them. The bell was about to ring. And in just 90 seconds, the entire world of martial arts would change forever. What happened next? Nobody saw it coming. If you love stories about underdogs and legendary moments, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story will blow your mind. Let me take you back to understand how this moment came to be. Bruce Lee, or rather the man carrying his name, was actually David Chan, a 38-year-old martial arts instructor from San Francisco. David had spent his entire life studying Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do philosophy. He wasn't famous. He didn't have sponsorships or a training team with millions of dollars. He ran a small martial arts school in Chinatown where he taught kids discipline and respect. David's students called him Sifu, which means teacher. He was quiet, humble, always wearing simple black clothes. He never bragged about his skills. In fact, most people in his neighborhood didn't even know he could fight. He just taught, practiced, and lived by Bruce Lee's words, "Be water, my friend." But David had a secret. For 15 years, he had been training in an abandoned warehouse every single night from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. No cameras, no social media posts, just him, a heavy bag, and Bruce Lee's training journals that he had studied like sacred texts. He had mastered the 1-inch punch, the side kick, and the legendary speed that made Bruce Lee a legend. One day, David received a letter. It was from UFC President Art Davie. The letter said, "We are looking for a traditional martial artist to prove that classic kung fu still works in modern fighting. We've heard about your skills. Will you represent Bruce Lee's legacy?" David's wife, Michelle, begged him not to go. "You're 38 years old. These UFC fighters are animals. You'll get hurt." His students were worried too. "Sifu, these are cage fighters. They don't follow rules like we do." But David remembered something Bruce Lee once said. "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do." He accepted the challenge. He would fight under the name Bruce Lee, as a tribute to his master. He would prove that size doesn't matter. That speed beats strength. That water can break stone. The day of the fight arrived. November 9, 1994. Grady Cole Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. David Chan arrived at the arena in an old Honda Civic. No entourage, no hype music, just him and a small gym bag. Meanwhile, Nguyen pulled up in a limousine surrounded by his team, trainers, nutritionists, massage therapists, and bodyguards. The weigh-in happened that morning. Nguyen stepped on the scale. 228 pounds of solid muscle. His shoulders were like boulders. His arms were the size of David's thighs. When David stepped on the scale, the number read 141 pounds. The crowd laughed. Not a cruel laugh. More like a nervous, uncomfortable laugh. The kind of laugh people make when they're about to witness something terrible. A reporter shouted, "Bruce, are you scared?" David looked at the reporter calmly and said, "Fear is just a feeling. What matters is what you do with it." Nguyen walked over, towering over David like a mountain over a stream. He stared down and said, "Old man, you're going to get hurt. This isn't a movie. This isn't a dojo. This is real fighting. You should quit now before I put you in the hospital." David didn't respond with words. He just bowed respectfully, the traditional martial arts bow, and walked away. Backstage, hours before the fight, David sat alone in his locker room. No trainers rubbing his shoulders. No coach giving him a pep talk. Just him breathing slowly, visualizing the fight. He closed his eyes and heard Bruce Lee's voice in his mind. "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Meanwhile, in the other locker room, Nguyen was shadowboxing, throwing punches that sounded like thunder. His coach was yelling, This guy's a joke. Finish him in 30 seconds. Show the world what real fighting looks like. Ben was confident. Too confident. He had seen David's tape, some grainy footage of him doing forms in his school. This guy does kata, Ben laughed. I break kata guys for breakfast. But what Ben didn't know was that David had studied every single one of Ben's 47 fights. He knew Ben's patterns. He knew Ben loved to throw a big right hook after missing a jab. He knew Ben dropped his left hand when he kicked. David had studied like a scholar preparing for the most important exam of his life. The walkout music started. David walked out to silence. He had chosen no music. Just the sound of his footsteps. The crowd watched, confused. This small, calm man in a black GI didn't look like a fighter. He looked like someone's dad who taught karate on weekends. Nguyen walked out to heavy metal music, flexing for the cameras, beating his chest, screaming at the crowd. The energy was electric. Everyone believed this would be a massacre. David stepped into the octagon. The cage door closed behind him with a loud clang. There was no turning back now. The referee, Big John McCarthy, called both fighters to the center. He looked at David with concern in his eyes. Are you sure you want to do this? He whispered. David nodded. I'm sure. The referee looked at Ben. Protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves if you want. Let's have a clean fight. Ben refused to touch gloves. Instead, he pointed at David and drew his finger across his throat, a threat. David simply returned to his corner, took a deep breath and waited. The entire arena held its breath. 60,000 people. Millions watching on pay-per-view. This was the moment. The bell rang. Nguyen charged forward like a bull seeing red. His massive frame covered the distance in 2 steps. He threw a huge overhand right, a punch that could knock out a horse. But David wasn't there. He had moved, not backward but to the side like water flowing around a rock. The punch missed by inches. The crowd gasped. Ben spun around confused. Stand still, he shouted. He threw another punch. Then another. Each one powerful enough to end the fight. But each one hit nothing but air. David moved with a strange, flowing motion, never where Ben expected him to be. 15 seconds passed. Ben was already breathing hard, frustrated. He had never fought anyone who moved like this. Then it happened. Ben threw his favorite combination, jab, jab, big right hook. David had seen this exact combination in 23 of Ben's previous fights. As the right hook came, David didn't move back. He moved forward, slipping inside the punch where Ben's power couldn't reach. And then David struck. The sound was unlike anything the crowd had heard before. A sharp, explosive crack that echoed through the entire arena. David's fist, moving at impossible speed, landed clean on Ben's solar plexus. It was the 1-inch punch. The legendary technique Bruce Lee had demonstrated in 1964. A punch that generates massive power from almost no distance. Ben's eyes went wide. His mouth opened. His whole body lifted off the ground and flew backward 3 feet before crashing to the canvas. The arena went silent. Complete, absolute silence. Nguyen, the undefeated kickboxing champion, lay on his back, gasping for air like a fish out of water. His eyes were open, but he couldn't move. The punch had hit his diaphragm so perfectly that his entire body had shut down. The referee ran over. Can you continue? Ben tried to speak, but no words came out. He tried to stand, but his legs wouldn't respond. 3 seconds passed. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. The referee waved his arms. Fight's over. Fight's over. The crowd exploded. Not just cheering, screaming, crying, jumping up and down. People couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. David Chun, the quiet martial arts teacher from San Francisco, had just knocked out a man twice his size with 1 punch. Ben's corner rushed into the octagon. His coaches were checking on him, asking if he was okay. Ben slowly sat up, his face pale with shock and confusion. He looked at David and whispered, What was that?" David walked over and extended his hand. Ben took it and David helped him stand. "That was water-breaking stone," David said softly. "Just like my master taught." The referee grabbed David's hand and raised it high. Winner by knockout, Bruce Lee. The arena camera zoomed in on David's face. There were tears in his eyes. Not tears of victory, tears of gratitude. He pointed up to the sky and whispered, "Thank you, Sifu. Thank you, Bruce." After the fight, David Chun sat in his locker room, still wearing his black GI, still calm, still humble. A young reporter came in and asked, "How did you do it? How did you beat someone so much bigger and stronger?" David thought for a moment, then said, "Bruce Lee taught us that it's not about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about being the smartest. It's about understanding yourself and understanding your opponent. I spent 15 years preparing for this moment, not in front of cameras, not for fame. I prepared because I believed in something bigger than myself." The reporter asked, "What's your message to people watching?" David smiled. "Size doesn't determine your worth. Age doesn't limit your potential. What matters is your dedication, your discipline, and your willingness to keep learning even when nobody's watching. I'm just a teacher from Chinatown. But tonight I proved that the old ways, the traditional ways, they still work. Respect and humility will always defeat arrogance and pride." The video of the fight spread around the world. It became one of the most watched moments in martial arts history, not because of violence but because of the lesson it taught. Nguyen, to his credit, became a different man after that fight. He visited David's school 2 months later. He bowed at the door and asked, "Sifu, will you teach me?" David welcomed him in, and Ben became one of his best students, no longer relying on size and strength, but learning patience, timing, and respect. Years later, David's students asked him what he remembered most about that night. He said, "I remember being terrified, but I also remember my master's words. A warrior's greatest weapon is not his fist, it's his spirit. That night, I fought with Bruce Lee's spirit living through me, and that made all the difference." The lesson is simple. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Never judge someone by their appearance. Never think that loud and big always wins, because sometimes, just sometimes, water really can break stone. And remember, as Bruce Lee said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless like water. You put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Final call to action. If this story inspired you, if it reminded you that age and size don't define what you're capable of, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss stories about legendary moments and life lessons that matter. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever proved someone wrong? Share your story. Your experience might inspire someone else today. Remember, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And David Chun, the quiet teacher who fought like Bruce Lee, showed us that with the right spirit, anything is possible. See you in the next story. Stay strong. Stay humble. Be water.